Subscribe for more untold stories of courage, sacrifice, and the heroes who never gave up. The wind moves slow over a small Texas town, the kind of place where dreams are simple and heroes are just faces on old photographs. But for Ethan Cole, 19, quiet, restless, the call to serve was louder than fear itself. His friends were heading to college, chasing comfort. But Ethan chose a different road, one that led straight into fire. He walked into the Army recruiting office, signed his name, and never looked back. They broke him down to rebuild him stronger. 6 weeks of sweat, blood, and grit. Every sunrise came with pain, every sunset with pride. He learned what brotherhood meant, and what fear really was. His mother wrote every week, "Come home safe." But Ethan had already changed. The boy she raised was now a soldier ready for war. August 2010. Afghanistan, a land of dust and danger, a place where seconds decide life or death. Ethan's unit, Bravo team, was headed to Helmand province. It was his first mission, but fate had much more planned. Heat like fire, air thick with dust, and silence that never felt safe. They were told it was a peacekeeping mission, but everyone knew peace didn't live here anymore. Their convoy rolled through a narrow road near Sanjin. And then the world exploded. An IED tore through the lead vehicle. Dust turned to fire. And the 19-year-old from Texas saw death for the first time. 3 men gone in seconds. Ethan froze, not in fear, but disbelief. He helped pull the wounded out. His hands shook, but his heart didn't. That was the moment the boy died, and the soldier was born. That night, under a sky full of distant stars, Ethan made a promise. No matter what happens, no one gets left behind. He didn't know that promise would cost him everything. The sound of war isn't just explosions. It's silence. The kind that stays long after the noise is gone. Ethan's story had only just begun. Helmand province. 5:40 a.m. The sun rises over the mountains, painting the valley in gold. But for Bravo team, beauty means danger. Every shadow could hide death. Ethan's first mission, a village patrol. Simple, they said. Nothing is ever simple in war. They called themselves family, not by blood, but by the battles they shared. Sergeant Mason, the leader, tough but calm. Corporal Diaz, the joker who could make you laugh even in hell. And Ethan, the new kid, with eyes that hadn't yet learned to look away from death. They stopped for a quick break. The radio crackled, static and silence. Then a single sound cut through the stillness. A click under Ethan's boot. Mine. Everyone froze. Time slowed down. Sergeant Mason whispered, "Don't move." Ethan's breath trembled. Sweat rolled down his face. He was 19, standing on the edge of life itself. Diaz crawled forward with shaking hands, disarming wire by wire. It took 3 minutes, the longest 3 minutes of their lives. When it was over, Mason laughed, the kind of laugh soldiers used to forget they almost died. "You did good, kid," he said. And for the first time, Ethan felt like he belonged. That night, under the dim light of a tent, Ethan wrote a letter to his mom, but he never sent it. He wrote, "If I don't make it home, tell Dad I was never afraid." 2 weeks later, a new mission arrived, Operation Reaper. Their target, a Taliban weapons convoy deep in enemy territory. They had 1 night to strike and 1 rule, no mistakes. Black sky, silent Humvees. The desert cold bit through their gloves. Ethan rode shotgun, rifle tight in his grip. Mason's voice echoed in his headset. "Eyes open. Stay sharp." They never saw it coming. A hidden machine gun nest opened fire. Tracers slicing through the dark. Diaz went down first. Chaos erupted. Ethan dragged him behind cover. Bullets slamming into the dirt inches away. Ethan fired back until his rifle clicked empty. His hands bled. His ears rang. But his heart never slowed. He was 19, fighting like a man who had nothing left to lose. Diaz was hit bad. Ethan ripped off his vest and pressed his hands over the wound. "Stay with me, brother," he shouted. But Diaz's smile was fading. He whispered, "You're a real soldier now, kid." Rage replaced fear. Ethan grabbed the M249 and charged forward alone. He laid down cover fire, shouting through the dust. Every shot a scream of defiance. The others followed. The ambush turned into victory. The smoke cleared. Bodies lay still. The convoy was destroyed, but so was their laughter. Diaz was gone, and with him, a piece of Ethan's soul. Back at base, Ethan was commended for bravery. A medal on his chest, but guilt in his eyes. Mason said, "You can't save everyone." Ethan answered softly, "Maybe not, but I'll die trying." Outside, the war was quiet for now, but inside Ethan it never stopped. He was only 19, yet he carried the ghosts of 100 men. Weeks passed. The valley was quiet, too quiet. Rumors spread that the Taliban were regrouping in Sanjin, the same valley where dozens of U.S. soldiers had already fallen. Ethan's unit got the call. Bravo team was going back, into the fire. Before they moved out, Mason gathered the men. "We go in together. We come back together." Ethan looked around. Faces scarred by war, eyes older than their years. He felt Diaz's absence like a ghost beside him. 12 kilometers through burning sand. Every step heavier than the last. Ethan carried extra ammo, and a promise he still hadn't broken. Then gunfire. Echoes bounced off the hills. The ambush was fast, brutal. Bullets cut the air like lightning. Mason shouted coordinates. Ethan dropped to one knee and returned fire. They were pinned near a dried riverbed. Enemy fire from all sides. Mason radioed for air support. 5 minutes out. 5 minutes felt like forever. Mason was hit, chest wound, bad. Ethan dragged him behind a wall, hands covered in blood. Mason looked at him, eyes fading. "You're in charge now." The word struck harder than any bullet. With Mason down, the team looked to Ethan. He was just 19, but leadership isn't about age. It's about heart. "We move," he ordered. "We don't wait to die here." He led them through smoke and shrapnel, crawling, firing, dragging the wounded. Bullets cracked inches above. But fear was gone, replaced by something pure. Purpose. The roar of engines above, F-18s screaming through the clouds. Ethan marked the target with a laser, breath steady, hands calm. The valley erupted in thunder. The ground shook. The ambush was over. When the dust settled, silence returned. The kind that hurts. Half the team wounded. Mason gone. Ethan stared at his commander's tag, still warm in his hand. The report called it a successful operation. But success in war has no joy, only names carved in stone. Ethan was promoted corporal now. But rank felt hollow. He finally sent that letter to his mother, the one he wrote weeks ago. He added one line, "Mom, I'm still here, but I'm not the same." Their next mission was set for dawn, the retake of Sangin's main compound. Ethan lay awake, staring at the sky. He whispered Mason's words, "We come back together." He didn't know it would be his last promise. Dawn. The air smelled of dust and destiny. They stormed the compound under heavy fire. Grenades, smoke, screams. Ethan moved like a man possessed, clearing room after room. A grenade landed beside 2 of his men. Without thinking, Ethan dove on it. The blast swallowed the sound of the world. He was 19, and he fought like 100 men. When the dust cleared, 2 soldiers were alive because of him. They found Ethan, still silent, his dog tags resting on his heart. Back home in Texas, they buried him under an open sky. The town that once knew a boy, now remembered a hero. His mother placed the folded flag on her lap and whispered, "You kept your promise." Years later, new soldiers train under a mural that bears his name. Ethan Cole, the man who fought like 100 men. And every recruit who reads it learns the same truth. Courage isn't about living forever. It's about what you're willing to die for. The world forgets many names, but not his, because legends are not born. They are forged in fire, in faith, and in 19 years of unstoppable courage. Afghanistan, weeks after the mission. The desert winds had quieted, but something still echoed through the valley. The sound of courage. The men of Bravo team carried Ethan's name like a heartbeat. The C-17 touched down on American soil. Flags lined the runway. Silence. Then, the slow sound of boots as his brothers carried the casket home. Ethan's mother stood waiting, hands trembling but proud. She didn't cry, not because she wasn't broken, but because she knew. Her son didn't die afraid. In Ethan's gear bag, they found one last letter, written the night before the final mission. It said, "If I don't come back, tell Mom I finally became who I was meant to be." The president himself pinned the Medal of Honor on Mrs. Cole's trembling hands. He said, "Your son didn't just serve his country. He defined it." Back home, Ethan's room stayed exactly as he left it. Posters, medals, the guitar he never finished playing. But in the quiet, his spirit lived on in every photo, every folded uniform. Every year, the men of Bravo team gather under the Texas sky. No speeches, no music, just silence and a toast to their brother. For Ethan, they say, raising steel cups into the wind. Each man carries his ghost differently. For some, it's nightmares. For others, it's tattoos, scars, or names etched on helmets. But all of them know, legends never die on Memorial Day. Captain Ryan, now retired, stood before hundreds of young recruits. He told them the story of Ethan Cole, a boy from Texas who taught men twice his age how to fight without fear. "You'll face darkness," he said. "But remember this, courage isn't about bullets or medals. It's about standing your ground when everything falls apart." Years later, a new recruit stood at the same outpost in Afghanistan. He wore Ethan's patch on his vest, faded but proud. He whispered, "For the ones who came before you at Arlington." A young boy visits the grave-marked Ethan Cole. He asks his father, "Was he brave?" The father nods. "No, son. He was unstoppable." The flame of courage doesn't fade. It passes from one soul to another, lighting the way for those still fighting. Because heroes never truly die. They just change uniforms. If you ever wonder what a hero looks like, look for the one who runs toward danger when everyone else runs away. That's Ethan Cole. That's every soldier who believed freedom was worth dying for. And so, his story is told again and again, not just in uniforms and medals, but in hearts that refuse to quit. Because some legends are born in war, but live forever in peace. Dedicated to every soldier who gave everything, and to every mother who never stopped believing her child was a hero. Because courage is not in how you die, it's in how you live.